Beyond the Body, Robert Monroe's Journeys Through the Vedic Lens, an esoteric exploration of out-of-body experience through subtle yogic vision. What happens when consciousness leaves the body and does not return right away? Is it imagination, a dream, or is it the soul remembering its wings? Robert Monroe was not a yogi, he was not a mystic by tradition, and yet he left the body again and again, crossing through realms most humans only glimpse in death or deep trance. In this sacred exploration, we'll journey through Monroe's 3 landmark books on out-of-body experience: Journeys Out of the Body, Far Journeys, and Ultimate Journey, but through the subtle lens of Vedic cosmology, yogic insight, and Siddhic awareness. What Monroe called the second body and locale 2, the ancient rishis called the Sookshma Shareera and the Loka system. What he called the I there, the yogis called Paramatman, the radiant center of being beyond time and space. Let us begin. 1. Journeys Out of the Body, the Sookshma Shareera and the First Siddhis of Displacement. Monroe's first book documents the spontaneous and often terrifying separation of his awareness from his physical form. At first, he feared he was dying, but over time he came to stabilize his exit, move through familiar and unfamiliar landscapes, and even encounter other beings, both embodied and non-embodied. Vedic correlate. This is the classical stage of pratyahara and lagima siddhi, the withdrawal of consciousness from the senses, followed by the experience of lightness or floating. In the Yoga Vashishta, we read of sages who leave the body at will, projecting their consciousness through the subtle channels of nadis into distant lokas. Monroe's second body is the Sookshma Shareera, composed not of muscle and bone, but of prana, mind, and karmic memory. Just as in the Vedic model, this body moves faster than light, retains individuality, can be refined or made lighter with spiritual practices. Monroe described his exit techniques, some of which mirror tantric pranayama, vibration raising, and single-pointed focus, all ancient tools of inner yogic travel. Far Journeys, crossing the lokus and meeting higher beings. In his second book, Monroe began exploring what he called Locale 2 and Locale 3, non-physical realities that seem to operate by different laws of time, gravity, and perception. He met guides, experienced parallel realities, and gained access to knowledge that bypassed his ordinary waking intellect. Vedic correlate. These experiences match the Loka system described in the Puranas, Upanishads, and yogic scriptures. The ancient texts describe realms such as Bhu-loka, physical world, Bhuva-loka, astral dimension, Swa-loka, celestial mind world, Mahaloka, Jana-loka, Tapa-loka, and Satya-loka, progressively subtler planes closer to Brahman. The beings Monroe met are devas, rishis, or antaryamis, manifestations of higher intelligence whose existence becomes perceptible only in Turīya, the fourth state of awareness. His experience of nonlinear time, spherical knowledge, and memory outside of sequence mirrors the Akasha Tattva, the all-containing subtle element through which siddhis like Trikala Jnana, knowledge of past, present, and future, arise. Monroe also began sensing missions, group souls, and a purpose behind evolution. In the Vedic view, this is the descent of Satya Sankalpa, the divine intention behind embodied experience. Ultimate Journey. The return to the self and the disappearance of fear. By the time Monroe wrote Ultimate Journey, something had changed. He was no longer seeking to explore the outer cosmos, but rather to dissolve the veils of the I itself. He discovered what he called the I there, a higher self of which his ordinary identity was merely a projection. He experienced death without dying, witnessed beings moving toward the gathering, and eventually reached a state of complete non-dual presence beyond space-time. Vedic correlate. This is the final return to the Atman. What Monroe calls the I there corresponds to the Aham dissolving into Paramatman. It is the realization of Kaivalya, utter liberation. No more birth, no more subtle body, just being. In the Mandukya Upanishad, this is described as na anta prajna, na bahish prajna avyavaharimekatma pratyayasaram, that which is not inward knowing, not outward knowing, beyond duality, the essence of the self. This is also echoed in the Yoga Sutras, where the final verse says, tada drashtu svarupe avastanam. Then the seer abides in its own true nature. Monroe's final realization was not about leaving the body, but about transcending the illusion of locality itself. This is moksha. This is samadhi. Final reflection. Robert Monroe was not reading the Vedas, and yet he was living them. His journey from fear and confusion to stabilization to guidance to transcendence is a modern mirror of the ancient yogic arc, from pratyahara to dhyana, from lagama to mahima, from Turīya to kaivalya. His work offers a precious bridge for modern seekers who have glimpsed the beyond but seek language, structure, and stillness to integrate it. In truth, the body was never the boundary, only identification was. Monroe showed us what is possible when curiosity becomes surrender, and when awareness is no longer confined. In the end, we don't have to choose between science and scripture, West and East, Monroe and the Upanishads. We only have to ask, what part of me is watching this, and where is it watching from? If Monroe's journey awakened something in you, trust that. You are not alone. The subtle body can be trained, the locus are real, and the self is far more vast than any system. Subscribe for more sacred teachings that bridge the mystical and the grounded. And if you'd like help discovering your own mantra or soul map, I'm honored to walk with you.